Hey guys, welcome back to another video, take two. I tried to do the 5 things learned already. One thing I learned was my internet today has been absolutely terrible, but I'm back here. Fingers crossed things are running smoothly because that's what we need. We need to talk about Manchester City. We need to talk about the Premier League results as well. We're here at 20 to 6 on a Sunday afternoon after a fascinating Sunday of football. I didn't watch any of the games, by the way, in the Premier League this weekend. I saw City, of course, but I was out with the family this weekend and had a lovely little time. And I got back to see that Arsenal dropped points. Honestly, I had no internet because my phone signal's down. So I didn't know the score of the Arsenal game until I got home today, which was fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. Of course, as well, this is the 5 things learned. I'm going to talk about yesterday's game against Nottingham Forest. 2-0. 8 wins out of 8 that we've made so far, which is 8 wins out of 8, sorry, 6 wins out of 6, 18 points out of 18 is what I meant to say. It's looking very, very good in the world of Manchester City Football Club, and I can't wait to see how things unfold this season. I've got a feeling, man, I've got a feeling things could be very interesting. I said it a couple of weeks back. Would anyone be surprised if we stayed at the top from now until the end of the season? I think it's possible. We will see. We will see indeed. Guys, please do hit the like button on the video. It does help support the channel absolutely loads. And let's get the subscribers up while you're at it as well. 68,568 people subscribed to the channel. Let's get to 69,000 if we can. Hello to Starlight, Carl Robinson, Mean, Pete and Ted and Osmodeus and Kim and Liam, Magic and Abdi and everyone else in the chat. It's good to see you all here. Of course, do say hello. Do let me know how your weekend's going and the rest. Let's look at the Premier League table. This is where we're at right now. City currently top of the table. 2 points clear. Liverpool, who are flying right now. Another victory today. Another 3-1 victory today, actually, as it stands. Brighton, I think they won as well today. Tottenham and Arsenal drew as well. Tottenham, Liverpool, City, Spurs and Arsenal. So I said Spurs twice there. The only teams with an unbeaten record left in the Premier League. City, though, currently 2 points clear. 4 points clear of Arsenal, which is nice, especially given the narrative around the Arsenal game, given Declan Rice and Rodri's apparent head-to-head. Ain't happening anymore with Rodri out. Let's have a look at the results today. Arsenal 2-2 today, which is obviously wonderful stuff. Declan Rice went off at half-time. I don't know if he's injured or not, but that's an interesting little narrative there. You look at those stats, really interesting. I actually tweeted earlier that I know for a fact that Big Ange Postecoglou is on City's list in a potential post-Guardiola world, really highly, actually. So that I wouldn't be up against that, by the way. But no, I would be, because it means Pep goes. Pep, you're never going anywhere, mate. You're staying here until you're on your deathbed, my friend, unfortunately. Those stats nice and equal. And Arsenal, you know, they dropped some points today. Arsenal fans are sort of arguing over it a little bit. It'd be interesting to see if Rice makes the game there, because look, if he's off and not available, I don't really fear that midfield. I'm sorry, I don't. We'll get onto it in a little bit. But, you know, Jorginho coming on, making a mistake today, by the way. I mean, Arsenal can't play poverty as if Jorginho isn't a Champions League winner and at one point a Ballon d'Or nominee for what it's worth, you know. So, a good player. But they missed him, Declan Rice, when he went off. So still, Spurs looking good. Arsenal looking all right, you know. Liverpool still finding a way to win 3-1. Again, that's what they seem to do these days. They are absolutely flying right now, creating chances. They are conceding goals for what it's worth, but they are a team to take seriously. I think I said as well that I do take them seriously at the start of the season. I think Liverpool are the most likely threat to Man City. I honestly believe that. I think they're a fantastic side. Chelsea. 1-0 today, lost at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea, man, when's the last time they scored a goal? They're going to have their goal of the month's going to be from training. It's going to be ridiculous, man. They are absolutely struggling. And do you know what? As I said in the previous take of this video, which I had to unlist, I'm glad it's blowing up in Todd Bowley's face. Like everything about the way that Todd Bowley's tried to run this Chelsea side has been immensely arrogant. It's been childish. It's been immature, and it's been a disgrace. I rarely use words that strongly, but I think spending $1 billion and throwing away players and discarding them like used toys is just absolutely pathetic. Genuinely, I mean that. Chelsea, an embarrassment. £1 billion spent, and the thing for me, it's not even that they've spent money. It's that they've just playing player after player after player, getting rid of the old thing, shiny new toy syndrome. These are people. Some of them who'd achieved great things at Chelsea. You got rid of them anyway, and you signed a bunch of players like a kid in the candy shop who's got a sugar rush, man. It's pathetic. Sit down on the sofa, have a cup of tea, and chill out, Todd Bowley. The arrogance is extraordinary. The naivety that you come over here in England as an American who doesn't understand the football and just think he can just spend money and that's it. Nah, it's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. And I got nothing against Chelsea, genuinely. But I have got everything against the arrogance of that, the arrogance of it, and it's not even that he's an American. It's the fact that he had the bravado to make himself a sporting director. If he can just buy his way into success like that. No, I'm sorry, you can't buy your way into success. Money helps. I'm a Man City fan. I can admit that, but. Do you know what helps more? Common sense and intelligence, and not this arrogance that comes with it. It is arrogant. I'm sorry, it is. It absolutely is. Good on Aston Villa for beating them today. Brighton, another 3-1 win today as well. Brighton flying. Look at the table right now. He made himself sporting director initially, yes, but then he changed it eventually. But he was signing the players and doing it all initially. Genuinely terrible stuff. Brighton currently sitting third. City, I think, is top of the table. We're the only team that looks fully cohesive right now, I'd argue. Liverpool looking really good. Brighton, excellent, of course. Now, there's a lot of good teams, actually, but we will see. We will see how it goes. Let's get on to the 5 things that we learned. A very interesting weekend of football, of course. United down in 9th, by the way. Lost 3-1-3. Newcastle in 8th. Currently 3-0 up against Sheffield United side. They are going down quickly. I feel sorry for James McAtee, but man, they are getting relegated. Look at those teams down at the bottom. Look, I love you, Vinny. I really do, mate. But you got to get Burnley out there as well. Luton as well. They are stinking up the league right now, unfortunately, those 3 teams down there. Tommy Doyle got on yesterday, by the way, which I was happy to see. He got some minutes for Wolves. That's what I want to see, my man Tommy getting some minutes. I don't know if he played much, but it was good to see him get on the pitch. I'm happy for Tommy Doyle. Anyway, let's go to the 5 things that I learned from this game. That's number 2. Number 1 is that Phil Foden stepped up yesterday. This is why I love this Manchester City side. Phil Foden yesterday, absolutely excellent. A wonderful player. It was a game of 2 halves for Phil Foden because it was needed. It was absolutely needed. Phil Foden, despite only being 23 years old yesterday, had the kind of game where he shows just how long he's been around in football. You look at that pitch yesterday and you realise there's only a couple of players in that pitch who have got more experience than him, especially as Manchester City player. Ederson, yep. Kyle Walker, yep. That is it. Phil Foden's been around this Manchester City side longer than Akanji, Diaz, Vardio, Nunes, Rodri, Alvarez, Haaland, Doku. Phil Foden was a senior member out there on the pitch yesterday. And yesterday in the midfield of Calvin Phillips and Nunes, he had to be the one. He had to be the one to step up. And he was. Yesterday, of course, it was a game of 2 halves. Phil Foden in the first half, elegant, graceful, wonderful, technical, just brilliant stuff, man. A beautiful finish from a Kyle Walker cutback. Kyle Walker's not on my 5 things learned, by the way, today, and he should be. I just realised right now, we need to talk about Kyle Walker, and we'll do it in another video, because Kyle Walker absolutely needs to be talked about. But yesterday, wonderful stuff, and I think there's been a narrative around Phil Foden that sort of bugged me. There's been this tendency to microanalyze every single game that Phil Foden plays. And it's because of Gareth Southgate. And it's sort of because of the narrative around De Bruyne as well. Everyone wants Phil Foden to do wonderfully. Everyone does. So as a result of that, I think there's a desperation just to see him in the team and playing well because we love him. But the downside of that is that we look at every performance as some answer to this narrative, and I think it's over-analysing it to an extent. If you actually take a step back and look at Phil Foden's season so far, he's had about 3 excellent games and about 3 quiet games. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. The average is still good there. And we're still so early on in the season. He's still sort of playing a semi-new role, which he is, by the way. It's a sort of semi-quasi right winger, number 10 kind of thing, which he's learning. Early on, linking up with new players around him. Currently, is Kyle Walker as a winger. That's not his number 4. He's linking up with Alvarez, finding this new role. Linking up with Kovacic, Nunes, Doku. It's all sort of new and early on. And I think there's a tendency for us to sort of leap on a poor performance and go, maybe you can't do it. No. This wouldn't be an argument if we weren't worried about him stepping up. Just calm down and look at the bigger picture. Phil Foden is an excellent player. We don't need a player to be 10 out of 10 every game. Sometimes a 6, when he's not bad, but he's not great. 6 is just a good job. It's fine. You're there. He's okay. That is okay. But every now and then you need to step up like yesterday, and he did. Yesterday at times in the second half when we were down to 10 men, as someone just said in the chat, Asmodeus, he was so smart. He was so smart with his decision-making. There were times when he kept the ball simple. There were times when he ran past his man to alleviate some pressure and got us up the pitch. There were times when he was corralling his teammates and getting them up. He was in the midfield with Nunes, who's brand new, and Phillips, who's barely played any football. And he really, really was the senior head, and I really admired it, and I thought he was excellent yesterday. Phil Foden, only 23 years old, which is very young, but he's been here for many years now in this first team. You can see that there. Complete Ederson. Yesterday, Ederson was excellent. Apart from losing his head briefly, there's been such a turnaround from this meme of Ederson. Remember when everyone was saying that Ederson's terrible? He's naff. He's not good enough, blah, blah, blah. Guess what? Everyone was overreacting, you know. It was almost like Ederson was actually a quality keeper who just probably lost a little bit of focus and form. Ederson right now is making some wonderful saves. He really is. When you've got a keeper who can pass the ball as good as he is, he rushes out as good as he is, who's making now these excellent world-class saves. You've got basically a perfect goalkeeper. Like right now, Eddie he's found his best form, and you've got to sort of credit like the goalkeeping coach. You've got to credit Ederson. You also got to credit people like Stefan Ortega who pushed him, to this level right now. And Ederson, look, he's been good for an awful long time now. He really stepped it up towards the end of last season in the treble run with some big saves. Had a great Champions League run, of course, and now he started the season absolutely on fire, man. Like there was that one snapshot save yesterday on the volley down to his left, which is the kind he would have let in previously. Absolutely excellent. I think Ederson right now, we forget, how old is he right now? Is he 31 or something like that? 30, 31. Ederson is a man where, he's a senior player. He's reaching what should be his peak for a goalkeeper. And yesterday, absolutely excellent once again. He could have had more to do, but the defence was really good. But what he did have to do was absolutely perfect. And it's great to see Ederson get his roses, man. Ederson's a quality keeper. Also, this guy, Guardiola loves Doku, man. He absolutely loves him. And I think Guardiola I think he's surprised by Jeremy Doku. And he said that himself yesterday. Let me try and find the actual, let me try and find the quote. There's a quote yesterday from Guardiola about Jeremy Doku. Where are we? He said he's a really good player, clever player to take decisions in the final first. I didn't expect that. I expected incredible speed, incredible one-on-ones, but after that, to have the composure, to have the decision in the final third. Yeah, he said I didn't expect that at all. Guardiola, I think he didn't know much about Doku, to be honest, and I think a lot of us didn't. I think it was really obvious, and I think we sort of know that this was a cheeky signing, by the way, a cheeky Briggenstein signing, not a Guardiola one. Like, it's one that he said he'll be great for the team, and Pep was like, okay, if you insist, go for it. And I think Pep has been really surprised how good he is, and I think a lot of us has. He's much more complete. Now, a lot of people were saying it's a little bit like, people going, you question his intelligence for the wrong reasons. No. I think when people throw the word raw around, I don't think there's anything malicious about it. I just hear it all the time about young wingers. I remember people saying, or young forwards in general, young attackers are always labelled as raw. And they use it as a lazy term to sort of explain why a young attacker would make a mistake, other than the fact that attackers make mistakes all the time because their game is high risk, No one would say De Bruyne is raw when he's making, crosses that don't come off. No, not at all. I've seen it about Delap. I've seen it about Cole Palmer. I've seen it about Oscar Bob. I've seen it about Jeremy Doku. I don't think it's anything malicious. I think it's just that people labour at young wingers and young forwards. And actually, Jeremy Doku, and I knew he was actually a smart player because I watched compilations of him. I did my research on him, and I knew he was a good player. I knew he was much more than just a dribbler because I saw it on the compilations. But I didn't know he was this good. I didn't know he was obviously this smart. There was that little 1-2 yesterday with Alvarez where Alvarez played him in. He skipped past the challenge. Instead of shooting a crossing, he played a beautiful reverse pass. So good. So good. So smart. A lovely little pass, man. So calm and so composed. And it was absolutely great. And Pep, that's the kind of thing he absolutely loves, Pep. He loves players. You can take a breath and just play the pass. The composure. If you can beat a man, you can create chances and pass the ball as well. You've got it all. You've got it all. He did sub him off yesterday, of course. Guardiola said, I think the reason he subbed him off, Guardiola said, with 10 against 11, Jeremy doesn't have the pace like Sane, over 40 metres long pace, which is a clumsy term, long pace, but you know what I mean. I think Doku's very fast, but I don't think he's lightning quick over long stretches of play. I think Sterling and Sane are faster on the counter, whereas I think Doku's a little bit slower. I think if he had that long pace, in inverted commas, like Sane had, I think he would have been a little bit more of a threat going forward, and Pep might have been tempted to use him. But he's more like a 10-metre like pace kind of guy where he bursts past you into the area and you can't stop him. But his top speed, I think a lot of players could catch up to him, but probably not quite as effective over a long burst. Over long distance. But either way, Guardiola loves him. This guy is going to play an awful lot of football because he has that quality, man. He's gone from a guy who'll be a squad option to probably a starter. Quickly, by the way, I would like to, if you can get the likes up and subscribe to the channel. We've got 160 people watching and 30-odd likes. You can do better, chat. Get your chats up. Get the likes up. It is massively appreciated. Also, let's go to the next point now. I want to talk about where we're at. I want to talk about the defence looking rock solid, of course. Look, we can talk a lot about, City going down to 10 men, but ultimately, you look at the stats yesterday, they only had 3 shots on target, Nottingham Forest, and City still had more possession than they did, and only conceded a couple of big chances, which is absolutely impressive, despite being down to 10 men. Ruben Diaz, of course, absolutely excellent. Nathan Ake is just having a blinder. I know he came on as a bit of a cameo, but still really good. Guardiola, of course, showed that steeliness that he's got. He's an elegant footballer, Guardiola, a really composed ball-playing centre-back, but there's so much more to his game than just that. He does have that Croatian steeliness that you'd expect from someone from the Balkans, and he's got that. He really does. He was excellent in throwing himself in front of the ball. Kyle Walker playing as a right wing-back, really good as well at times. Ake coming on and doing a good job. Akanji holding the fort. And everyone else, they put in a shift. We weren't quite as composed as we usually are when we go down to 10 men. I think that's down to the next point, which I'll get onto in a little bit. But I do think that City do have that steely determination, and that's what we had like last season. City, of course, are a team blessed with world-class attacking talent. We know that. But last season's Champions League was built on a rock-solid defence, and it is still there. That focus, that determination, that grit, it's absolutely wonderful, and I love to see it. I absolutely do. And finally, I want to talk about the midfield conundrum now, of course. Calvin Phillips came on yesterday. He did okay. He did all right, He did okay. I don't think he had an outstanding game or anything like that when he came on. He came on, and these were his stats yesterday, It was okay from Calvin Phillips. He had 39 minutes played, 10 passes completed, one cross not accurate. Yeah, that's a nice run down the wing, actually, to be fair. 25 touches. He only won 1 of his 6 attempted ground duels. Possession lost 10 times. Dribble attempts is no dribbles completed out of 2 attempted, and 1 foul. He was all right, man. He was there. He did a little bit of work. I know a lot of people were very quick to go, oh, well done, he came on and did a good job. I thought he did okay, if I'm being honest. I don't think he did. The thing is, yesterday, what I personally felt is that when I went back to the Fulham game last season when it was 1-0 at the Etihad, and Cancelo was sent off in the 26th minute. And we still, despite having Cancelo sent off, we still dominated possession. I got into a little bit of debate yesterday. I expected City to still keep the ball yesterday, and I think Nottingham Forest had more of the ball. I expected it because that's what I've seen. When City go to 10 men, last season against Fulham for 26 minutes, we went down to 10 men and we kept the ball and went on to win the game anyway. I think we couldn't do that yesterday, and I think Pep did set us up to play 5 at the back. And I think, and I mean this with a great respect, I think he did that because he knew that we didn't have the players to keep the ball in the way that he'd wanted to. So he went for defensive stability instead. And I think that's what Guardiola knew. I honestly believe, hand on heart, if Rodri... Imagine it was a forward went off and we had Rodri and I say Kovacic on the pitch or Bernardo. I still think we would have kept the ball. That's it. And does anyone else feel like Kovacic might not have had more than 10 passes completed if he was on the pitch yesterday? Yes, I really think he would have. And we've said it before. We've seen it before with City. I'm not criticising Phillips. I just think we weren't capable of keeping the ball that we usually do. And Cable said also we had 2 goals lead against Forest. Well, that's the point. I would have suspected at that point we would have kept the ball and taken the sting out of the game. Pep's number 1 tactic always is to keep the ball if you're winning. Keep it. But we didn't keep it yesterday. We sort of ceded possession because we couldn't keep it. I think it leads to a little bit of a midfield conundrum. I'm happy to be wrong on this. I'm not saying Phillips is bad. I'm just saying I think there was a step down. And if we decide that we clearly sacrificed the ball, why would we do that? We never do that, even with 10 men. That's not Guardiola's side. I think Guardiola set the defence up knowing that we couldn't keep the ball as well as we usually could do. Because it's not Phillips, and it also Nunes as well. I don't think Nunes is currently fully versed in a possession-based system. So if you looked at the players on the pitch and thought, Nunes, still getting used to it, hasn't quite got the wherewithal to do that. Phillips, not quite there fully. Foden, of course, attacker, absolutely, but hasn't got the pauser, so to speak. Grealish came on. I think he looked at the players and thought, we can't keep the ball that we usually do. And I think Phillips should be that guy, but I don't think he's that guy either. And I think Nunes isn't that level either. So this is what I'm on about in midfield conundrum. We haven't currently got the possession-based players without those on the pitch, which is the levels, to me, is what I'm talking about. So I'm not criticising Phillips. I'm just saying I don't think we'll see Phillips play against Wolves next weekend, and I don't think we'll see him play against Arsenal either. I think the conundrum to me is that Guardiola wants to play a possession-based system, but they can't quite do it. I think personally, what we'll really see is I think Guardiola will hope that Bernardo Silva's back, and I think in this instance against Arsenal, I think he'll play Bernardo Silva alongside Kovacic in midfield. It has to be Phillips. Phillips has to step up. But I think Pep isn't convinced he can play a possession-based system. Otherwise, why would he have sacrificed it? Newcastle, he was going to play anyway, Calvin Phillips. Absolutely, he was going to play anyway. We will see. To me, it'll be Bernardo Silva and Kovacic. I think Nunes might play, but I think it'll be Bernardo Silva if he's available, and Kovacic. And I think he'll play Phil Foden out wide with Alvarez ahead of them. Maybe Nunes in midfield as well, alongside... we will see. There is a midfield conundrum. Bernardo's, apparently Guardiola said he'll be back in 10 days, and that was 3 days ago now. So Bernardo will be back. He'll be back. Look, I'm not trying to dig him out, but I think I didn't see a Manchester City side yesterday when Rodri went off. I saw Guardiola being pragmatic because I don't think he thinks that we could do what he usually would do, and that to me is very telling. Maybe I'm being harsh. Maybe it's because he can't do what they usually do yet. Because Nunes isn't up to speed. Phillips hasn't got the fitness yet. Maybe. I don't know. But we will see. We will see how he gets on. I want to be wrong. I really want to be wrong. But I think we've got to be... I've got to judge of what I've seen yesterday. And this is how I feel about it. We're going to see. We're going to see. Either way, Newcastle 6-0 currently, by the way. God, they're going down so badly, Sheffield United, aren't they? Either way, we will see how it goes. I'm relaxed about the Arsenal game when it comes around. I think we've got enough. Let's see if Rice is out. I think we can still beat them. But either way, I don't care if we do. A draw would do against Arsenal. We will see, because I still think we're the best team. Still think the best team in the country. They're the 5 things that I took from this game, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you don't agree on that point, fair enough. I'm not trying to call anyone out. I just think yesterday, Guardiola sacrificing possession. Pep never does that, man. He's never, ever done that in 7 years at Manchester City Football Club. I have never seen him sacrifice possession. The only time I've seen him do it in the Premier League game was yesterday. And that was because I think he felt the players couldn't do that. So he went for defensive stability instead. It worked. But it's not a Manchester City style, in my opinion. No, because... Do you think you would have done it if Rodri was on the pitch and Kovacic? No. No chance. If it was someone else sent off and Rodri was there and Kovacic was available... Nah, we would have kept the ball, man. We would have kept the ball. I'm almost certain we would have done. I might be wrong, but we'll see. Guys, thanks for watching this video. All that matters is that we are 18 from 18. 6 wins out of 6. I'm buzzing. I can't wait to see how the Newcastle game goes midweek. We will see. I love you all loads. You're all awesome. Football is a game of opinions. As long as you're not being toxic, it doesn't matter. We all can agree to disagree. We won. That's all that matters. Pragmatic Pep. I love it, by the way. And for what it's worth, I think Pep was absolutely right to do what he did yesterday. I feel like we couldn't keep the ball yesterday with the players on the pitch, in my opinion, so he went defensive and it worked perfectly, and the defenders defended well. Wonderful stuff. Guys, like the video, subscribe, watch my match reaction for yesterday. The fan view live was great fun, and I'll catch you all in a bit.